you are informed.
Adolf Hitler, the 20th of April 1889. The 30th of April 1945 was an Austrian-born German politician who was the dictator of Germany from 1933 until his suicide in 1945. He rose to power as the leader of the Nazi Party, becoming the Chancellor in 1933 and then taking the title of Führer and Reichskanzler in 1934. During his dictatorship, he initiated World War II in Europe by invading Poland on the 1st of September 1939. He was closely involved in military operations throughout the war and was central to the perpetration of the genocide of about 6 million Jews and millions of other victims. Hitler was born in Braunau am Inn in Austria-Hungary and was raised near Linz. He lived in Vienna later in the first decade of the 1900s, before moving to Germany in 1913. He was decorated during his service in the German Army in World War I. In 1919, he joined the German Workers' Party DuP, the precursor of the Nazi Party, and in 1921 was appointed leader of the Nazi Party. In 1923, he attempted to seize governmental power in a failed coup in Munich, and was sentenced to 5 years in prison, serving just over a year of his sentence. While there, he dictated the first volume of his autobiography and political manifesto Mein Kampf, My Struggle. After his early release in 1924, Hitler gained popular support by attacking the Treaty of Versailles and promoting pan-Germanism, anti-Semitism, and anti-communism with charismatic oratory and Nazi propaganda. He frequently denounced capitalism and communism as part of an international Jewish conspiracy. By November 1932, the Nazi Party held the most seats in the Reichstag but did not have a majority. No political parties were able to form a majority coalition in support of a candidate for chancellor. Former Chancellor Franz von Papen and other conservative leaders convinced President Paul von Hindenburg to appoint Hitler as chancellor on the 30th of January 1933. Shortly thereafter, the Reichstag passed the Enabling Act of 1933, which began the process of transforming the Weimar Republic into Nazi Germany, a one-party dictatorship based on the totalitarian and autocratic ideology of Nazism. Upon Hindenburg's death on the 2nd of August 1934, Hitler succeeded him, becoming simultaneously the head of state and government with absolute power. Domestically, Hitler implemented numerous racist policies and sought to deport or kill German Jews. His first 6 years in power resulted in rapid economic recovery from the Great Depression, the abrogation of restrictions imposed on Germany after World War I, and an annexation of territories inhabited by millions of ethnic Germans, which initially gave him significant popular support. One of Hitler's key goals was Lebensraum Lit, living space for the German people in Eastern Europe, and his aggressive, expansionist foreign policy is considered the primary cause of World War II in Europe. He directed large-scale rearmament and, on the 1st of September 1939, invaded Poland, resulting in Britain and France declaring war on Germany. In June 1941, Hitler ordered an invasion of the Soviet Union. In December 1941, he declared war on the United States. By the end of 1941, German forces and the European Axis powers occupied most of Europe and North Africa. These gains were gradually reversed after 1941. And in 1945, the Allied armies defeated the German army on the 29th of April 1945. He married his long-term partner, Eva Braun, in the Führer bunker in Berlin. On the following day, the couple committed suicide to avoid capture by the Soviet Red Army. In accordance with Hitler's wishes, their corpses were burned. The historian and biographer Ian Kershaw describes Hitler as the embodiment of modern political evil under Hitler's leadership and racist ideology. The Nazi regime was responsible for the genocide of an estimated 6 million Jews and millions of other victims, whom he and his followers deemed undermentioned subhumans or socially undesirable. Hitler and the Nazi regime were also responsible for the deliberate killing of an estimated 19.3 million civilians and prisoners of war. In addition, 28.7 million soldiers and civilians died as a result of military action in the European theater. The number of civilians killed during World War II was unprecedented in warfare, and the casualties constitute the deadliest conflict in history. In August 1914, at the outbreak of World War I, Hitler was living in Munich and voluntarily enlisted in the Bavarian army. According to a 1924 report by the Bavarian authorities, allowing Hitler to serve was most likely an administrative error because, as an Austrian citizen, he should have been returned to Austria. Posted to the Bavarian Reserve Infantry Regiment 16, 1st Company of the List Regiment, he served as a dispatch runner on the Western Front in France and Belgium, spending nearly half his time at the regimental headquarters in Forns-en-Wepps, well behind the front lines. In 1914, he was present at the First Battle of Ypres and in that year was decorated for bravery, receiving the Iron Cross, 2nd class. During his service at headquarters, Hitler pursued his artwork, drawing cartoons and instructions for an army newspaper. During the Battle of the Somme in October 1916, he was wounded in the left thigh when a shell exploded in the dispatch runner's dugout. Hitler spent almost 2 months recovering in hospital at Belitz. Returning to his regiment on the 5th of March 1917, he was present at the Battle of Arras of 1917 and the Battle of Passchendaele. He received the Black Wound Badge on the 18th of May 1918, 3 months later, in August 1918, on a recommendation by Lieutenant Hugo Gutmann, his Jewish superior. Hitler received the Iron Cross, 1st class, a decoration rarely awarded at Hitler's Gefreiter rank. On the 15th of October 1918, he was temporarily blinded in a mustard gas attack and was hospitalized in Pasewalk. While there, Hitler learned of Germany's defeat and, by his own account, suffered a second bout of blindness after receiving this news. Hitler described his role in World War I as the greatest of all experiences and was praised by his commanding officers for his bravery. His wartime experience reinforced his German patriotism, and he was shocked by Germany's capitulation in November 1918. His displeasure with the collapse of the war effort began to shape his ideology. Like other German nationalists, he believed the Dolchtollegen stab in the back myth, which claimed that the German army, undefeated in the field, had been stabbed in the back on the home front by civilian leaders, Jews, Marxists, and those who signed the armistice that ended the fighting, later dubbed the November Criminals. The Treaty of Versailles stipulated that Germany had to relinquish several of its territories and demilitarize the Rhineland. The treaty imposed economic sanctions and levied heavy reparations on the country. Many Germans saw the treaty as an unjust humiliation. They especially objected to Article 231, which they interpreted as declaring Germany responsible for the war. The Versailles Treaty and the economic, social, and political conditions in Germany after the war were later exploited by Hitler for political gain. On the 21st of March 1933, the new Reichstag was constituted with an opening ceremony at the Garrison Church in Potsdam. This Day of Potsdam was held to demonstrate unity between the Nazi movement and the old Prussian elite and military. Hitler appeared in a morning coat and humbly greeted Hindenburg. To achieve full political control, despite not having an absolute majority in parliament, Hitler's government brought their Mächtigungssatz Enabling Act to a vote in the newly elected Reichstag. The act, officially titled the Gesetz, Der Beheabung der Not von Volk und Reich law to remedy the distress of people. And Reich gave Hitler's cabinet the power to enact laws. Without the consent of the Reichstag for 4 years, these laws could, with certain exceptions, deviate from the constitution. Having achieved full control over the legislative and executive branches of government, Hitler and his allies began to suppress the remaining opposition. The Social Democratic Party was made illegal, and its assets were seized. While many trade union delegates were in Berlin for May Day, activities saw stormtroopers occupied union offices around the country. On the 2nd of May 1933, all trade unions were forced to dissolve, and their leaders were arrested. Some were sent to concentration camps. The German Labor Front was formed as an umbrella organization to represent all workers, administrators, and company owners, thus reflecting the concept of Nazism in the spirit of Hitler's Volksgemeinschaft, people's community. Adolf Hitler was an Austrian-German politician who was leader of the Nazi Party from 1921 to 1945, Chancellor of Germany from 1933 to 1945, and a leader of Nazi Germany from 1934 to 1945. Adolf Hitler committed suicide by shooting himself in the Führer bunker, his underground bunker in Berlin, on April 30, 1945. No gunpowder residue was detected in Hitler's jawbone, indicating that Hitler did not die from a gunshot wound. He and his wife Eva Braun killed themselves by taking cyanide, in accordance with Hitler's previous instructions. Their bodies were taken out of the emergency exit stairs of the bunker that afternoon and set on fire by dousing them with gasoline in the garden of the Reichskanzlei. Records in Soviet archives indicate that the burnt remains were recovered and interred in successive locations until 1946. In 1970, he was exhumed again, cremated, and his ashes were scattered. Explanations regarding the cause of Hitler's death differ. One view states that he died by poison alone, and another view claims that he died by shooting himself in the head while biting into a cyanide capsule. If you liked the video, do not forget to press the like button. Subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell. See you in the next video.
You are informed.